Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Live Ones. I am Big Matt, your capper extraordinaire. The big story today from the world of the NBA, an absolute blockbuster trade involving all-stars Julius Randle and Karl Anthony Towns. Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo are headed to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Karl Anthony Towns is coming to the New York Knicks. Randle, of course, found a second life with the Knicks after a really disappointing stint with the Lakers to start his career. He was riddled with injuries, was just never really in the right offensive situation. Became a three-time All-Star after getting picked up by the Knicks in free agency, but he always just seemed to disappear in the playoffs. The Knicks obviously view Towns as a big upgrade at center and the perfect complement to be to the new face of their franchise in Jalen Brunson. The current center, Mitchell Robinson, has been ruled out for at least the first 2 months of the season because of off-season ankle surgery. I imagine Robinson's going to have to learn how to play power forward if he wants to keep his spot in the lineup when he gets back. The Timberwolves need depth. We saw that in the Western Conference Finals against the Mavericks last year. They were really thin behind Towns and Anthony Edwards. Rudy Gobert is still stellar on defense, but it's definitely starting to decline in the offensive zone. Plus, he's on the wrong side of 30 years old. They get two quality players back in exchange for one. This could be one of those trades that works out great for both teams. We went 1-2 yesterday, just barely missed having a winning night after the Guardians got a little too frisky on offense in the top of the fifth. But it's a super Saturday of sports. We have a full day of conference play and college football to go over. Let's get to it. And we're starting off with at noon with UAB and Navy. Navy has started off their season basically injecting raw distilled speed into their veins right before every game. I can't remember the last time I saw a service academy play this explosively. Navy is top 10 in rushing yards in the country, but really more importantly, it's 8th in yards per carry at a whopping 6.45 yards a run. During their torpedoing of Memphis, they got almost 600 total yards of offense. They're averaging 3 plays of over 40 yards from scrimmage per game. I have no idea where this team came from. This is a different midshipman squad than we've seen in ages. UAB has been one of the worst teams in the country against the run, averaging 197 rushing yards against them to start the season, and they really only had one tough opponent so far in Arkansas. When UAB faced this triple option attack last year, they were blown out 31-6 by a Navy team that wasn't very good. They rushed for 270 yards in the game. Navy is so much better this year. This is likely to be another showcase game for their offense. I really don't think UAB is going to be able to keep up. They're 95th in the country in total offense thus far this season. I'd make Navy a touchdown favorite in this game, and you're catching them at 3.5. Just go ahead and jump all over that. Give me Navy minus 3.5 points today. Oklahoma State and Kansas State, we have two of the absolute best red zone defenses in the country squaring off today. Oklahoma State has allowed only 5 touchdowns in 14 red zone attempts. Kansas State has allowed only 4 in 11 attempts. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, even saying something like that about two Big 12 teams, but here we are. Oklahoma State has one of the best running backs in the country in Ollie Gordon, but he has really struggled this season. And the Cowboys rank 115th in the country in rushing offense. That spells trouble facing Kansas State, who is one of the best rushing defenses in the country. The Wildcats rank 15th nationally. They've only allowed an average of 83 rushing yards a game. Kansas State has only allowed 6.5 points per game in its 2 home games, and one of those home games was against a very tough Arizona offense. These two teams haven't played a game that has gone over today's total of 55.5 since 2017, and they're conference opponents, so they play every single year. Everything screams under today. Take the under 55.5 points. Michigan and Minnesota, we've got a game today of 2 phenomenal disappointments. The Wolverines, though, may have figured out the formula for salvaging their season last week against USC and just not letting their quarterback throw the ball. Michigan ran the ball 46 times for 290 yards. They threw the ball just 12 times for 32 yards. So you can read in between the lines there and figure out that Alex Orji's passes were just little swings out to the running back in the backfield. It's terrible, but it worked a whole lot better than the alternative. Michigan pulled out the dupe against the number 11 team in the country last week, and that spells major trouble for the Golden Gophers, who have not been great against the run all year so far. 56th in the country in rushing yards allowed, 62nd in rushing yards per attempt. The one thing Minnesota does phenomenally well is defend against the pass. They're second in the nation overall. But the problem is Michigan's just not going to throw the ball, especially downfield. They don't have a quarterback who can do that, and if I were Alex Orji, I'd start focusing on my studies because his football career is likely over after this season. Meanwhile, Minnesota's offense is atrocious, 104th overall, 108th in rushing, 102nd in passing in the country. There are 134 FBS schools nationwide, in case you're wondering how bad those rankings are. Michigan's defense aren't the world beaters that they've been the past 3 years, but they will be more than capable of handling these clowns. Michigan wins this one easily at home. Give me the Wolverines -10. If you're looking for today's really ugly game in the Big Ten, that'll be Wisconsin and USC. Wisconsin lost its starting quarterback Tyler Van Dyke to an ACL tear for the season, and let's just say there's a big drop-off in quality to back up Braden Locke. The Badgers are averaging just 21 points a game, including 2 games where Van Dyke was playing, so their offense was never going to be setting the world on fire to begin with. Meanwhile, Lincoln Riley seems to have suddenly figured out that defense actually is an important thing in football. He's got a very respectable 49th overall defense and 24th ranked pass defense in the country, which is a good thing as his offense has really been sputtering out of the gate, 51st in the country. Very uncharacteristic for a Lincoln Riley team, but you can attribute some of that to the insanely tough schedule that they've had to open the season. But it's still noticeable. And Wisconsin's got a phenomenal secondary as well. They should really limit USC's passing, so I think this total stays nice and low today. Give me Wisconsin and USC under 50.5. From a defensive rock fight to a track meet, we have Wazoo and Boise State. Washington State's offense is humming right now. They put up 54 points against San Jose State. They're first in the nation in explosive plays and 51st in finishing drives. So it's very, very boom or bust with this offense. Literally anytime John Matier gets under center, the ball could be broken for a touchdown or it could just fall flat incomplete. That's a big deal when you're playing Boise State, who are 125th in the country in explosiveness allowed on defense and 116th in finishing drives allowed on defense. That's a terrible combination against this offense for Wazoo, because while they're not perfect all the time, they don't have to be, not even close. It's not all bad news for the Broncos, though, as they have what, for my money, is the second best running back in the country in Ashton Jeanty. He is tearing up college football, averaging 10.5 yards per carry with 9 touchdowns in only 3 games. Cougars sit outside the top 100 in rush explosiveness allowed and ranked 72nd in EPA per rush allows. Both of these teams are extremely fast-paced. I don't think either one of them is going to be able to stop the other on defense. We could see 80 points in this game. Give me the over 64.5. That is my 5th and final play for the day. Everyone bet safe, stay safe. Follow us on X at Live One Sports. Check us out on Roku and Fire TV at the Live Ones. Have yourselves a great Super Saturday of sports, and I will see you soon.